Good touch again. This time it's just one. He keeps the bowling, does Dwayne Pretorius. 39 gone. 168 for 5. Projections earlier in the midst of the Zondo Bardeen stand was suggesting South Africa could get to around about 250 at run a ball. Well, it's obviously with wickets has slowed down. They need 8 and over to get to that 250. As a man who knows this ground pretty well, Kruger, what do you fancy South Africa will think they can give themselves a realistic chance?
I think anything around that 251. I just think the important thing is sometimes you can go a little bit too hard, too early here, and especially with them not having enough wickets in the bank, they're going to have to play this really smart. Both these guys have got good power, so almost you're going to have to put all your eggs in one basket during those last 4 or 5 overs to get you to that 250.
So important that these two are in when those overs arise, that particularly the man on strike now who can finish so well, as can Bahadin. Powered out to the sweeper. Both of them very dangerous. Pretorius, though, just looks in particularly good touch today. It's been a surface on which nobody's really settled to be able to play freely and fluently, but this man's hit some lovely boundaries.
Yes, he's played beautifully, Brett. He's looked good from the minute he's come in. Even the defensive shots, the ball has hit the middle of the bat, and it's normally a good indication of being in fine touch.
2 6s, 2 4s. No 5s, unusual. Straight back past the bowler. That's a lovely stroke. Finding his rhythm once again is Fahan Bardeen. That's a really good shot.
Yes, as we see that shot, this time he goes straight down the ground. We saw Dwayne Pretorius, he took the initiative at the previous over, but this time Bardeen does it beautifully as well.
It's interesting that Manish Pandey, the Indian ace skipper, is keeping mid-on and mid-off up for the most part. It's worked because it's made singles hard to come by, but he must now just starting to think that perhaps the one down the ground is a lesser of the two evils. Bit of extra bounce.
Yes, he's definitely going for, they need 1 wicket, and then he knows they're into basically more your bowlers. Aaron Pangizo, he is a fighter. He will scrap all the way to the end to get scores, but 1 wicket here, and there's almost a little bit of an end open.
Having been hit down the ground, he adjusts his length. You think it's going to be a little bit shorter, but it did steeple. Just a good passage over the last 2.5 overs. 20 runs scored at a good pace. 14 deliveries, 20 runs. And it hasn't been with any risk, really. It's just been taking opportunity, calculated batting. Good cricket by these two. Perhaps not as calculated.
Once again, we see from the centre of excellence end just that little bit of extra bounce, which has deceived the batsman for the most part of this day.
It's quite a grandiose term, that, isn't it? Centre of excellence. Puts a bit of pressure on yourself when you name something the centre of excellence. It better produce excellence.
The ones who name it, it's easy. It's the guys who got to produce from a centre of excellence.
There's the pressure, that's it. He'll keep the bowling once again, will Dwayne Pretorius. He's been quite proficient at that. 40 overs gone, 10 remain. We're going into the final power play, and South Africa are recovering nicely. Much better the second power play. Good run rate, just under 5s after the drama of the first 10 overs where the ball certainly held sway over the bat in encouraging conditions. Adrian Holstock signals the introduction of power play number 3 and a change of bowling. Man, so successful with the new ball. He bowled beautifully, got the bounce bowling from the centre of excellence end, but he's switching ends now, replacing his new ball partner Shahal Thakur.
Yes, and a different skill set which he will have to execute now as the ball is slightly older. The batsman will look to be more aggressive, so it'll be interesting to see how he shows his skill with the old ball.
Goes to Pretorius. Turned away comfortably to take him into the 40s. Working the singles, it's really starting to build nicely once again. From 115 for 5, these two have been very productive. As you said earlier, bowling in the Dennis Lilly headband. Curly Ambrose got asked to take his wristbands off by Dean Jones, wasn't it? I don't think anybody asked Dennis Lilly to take a headband off. That would have been foolish.
Yes, and his batting, the rest of the batters didn't speak to Dean Jones for the rest of the series because he bowled them out.
Wide, Curly cranked it up to about 155 that day.
Absolutely, and he was uncomfortable even just on an average day. So yes, it's a topic of discussion. You know, headgear, wrist gear, but this time it's a red headband, and if it was around the wrist and if it was white, the batsman was well entitled to ask him to remove it. But this occasion, it's completely legitimate.
Very good.
Oh, he's picked it up so easily. Whistled for 4.
As we have a look, this time just dragged down. Dwayne Pretorius, he obliged, just helping it on its way. Found a gap between long leg and deep square leg.
Talk about different skill sets. We saw him exhibit the new ball bowling perfectly. So far, less impressive coming back for another spell with the older ball.
Absolutely. So important in today's game that you're a well-rounded player. You need to offer different skill sets when the ball is old, when the ball is new, different slower balls. Same for batsmen. You need to have a good touch play. You need to have a good power element to your game. Makes modern day cricket really exciting.
He's had a lot of the bowling of late, Pretorius, so that Bahadin has been somewhat becalmed. I think things are going. When we saw a couple of overs ago, Kruger, gloves come out and a bit of instruction, we were saying, well, if they go just under a run a ball, they'll get to 200 after 45. Well, progress has been way better than I think they could have anticipated, and they haven't even had to look for it.
It's very, very true, Brett. And sometimes it's almost better off aiming for 240. And if you play that well, you'll naturally get 260. just by keeping a nice and clear mind, and they've done that really well.
Another neatly guarded single. Looking much better now for South Africa. 184 for 5 with 9 overs remaining. 9 off that over as the projections start to look a little bit more achievable. 8 and over, 256 from here. With these 2 in, I think, and that remains the key. They have to bat the bulk of those 9 overs that remain.
Yes, and sometimes you see 9 overs, but that still means 54 balls, which is a lot of batting still to come. I think you summed it up beautifully, Brett. It's so important that they are there in those latter overs, especially those last 3 or 4 overs.
Coach Shukri Conrad's got his finger on the pulse of everything as always. Just talking to him before the game, they were grappling, were the Brains Trust of the A side, whether to go a bowler light and pick the extra batsman, and they just felt that the way this pitch is played during the tournament, that you need frontline bowlers all in your 5-pronged attack, no part-timers. Yuzvendra Chahal comes back for his last 2. I think it's a good change. It's been much easier to score off seam in these latter overs. So Manish Pandey is turning to spin once again. Starts with a wide.
I think the key to a really good total here for SA is how they play the remaining overs of the 2 spinners. I think we've seen with the seamers it's been a little bit easier, but how they play Chahal and Akshar.
Cut away, there may be more than 1. In fact, it might almost go for 4. The fielding's good in the end, keeps it down to 2.
Yes, the general standard of fielding has been very good from the Indian side and South African A side as well, right throughout the series. A lot of youth out there, and they throw themselves around.
Didn't look like he was going to get there. He got a slow start, the boundary rider, and then had to stretch and lurch. Got a lot quicker to the ball on this occasion, keeps it down to 1. I would suggest, to answer your question loosely, Kruger, if their tactic was to get to 200 by over 45, and we're talking about when the gloves came out, they're well on their way, so they can just see spin off effectively. They don't have to take it on, take it where it comes, and they're still in the position they want to be.
I think so, and especially he's only got 4 fielders in the ring, so in this case, if you want to see them off, it'd be a case of picking up between 4 and 5 and over, and like I say, then those last 5 overs become important.
Running it a bit quicker now as Chahal. It's a good finish to the over that yielded just not quite finished. That yielded 4. 4 off the first 2 deliveries, first 2 legal deliveries, and then dots since then. Oh, and it's nearly a drag on. So nearly a drag on. 4 from that over, 188 for 5. So where's he going to go, Manish Pandey? Spinner's got 1 each, so that would take it to 44 overs. He's got to find 6 overs between what remains. It'll probably be the front 2 you'll fancy for the most part. Somewhere along the way, Thampi and Shankar have got to sneak an over in.
Yes, I think the next 2, the 1 over remaining from Akshar and Chahal are important ones. And then he might probably just look to mix it up between Fakur, Kahul and Thampi. Not get too predictable, swing those 3 around from the different ends. Very important today's game that you don't become predictable at the end.
Akshar Patel to bowl his last over. think the field setting also that Patel's bowling there, what he did to Bahadin, is bread and butter for Fahan Bahadin. All he's looking to do is get across, knock it to the onside, take his one. It was almost free there. There was just no one in the ring saving one at all.
Yes, we spoke about Kai Zondo earlier and how he goes deep into the crease. I think Fahan Bahadin, he employs a similar tactic where he can go right forward but right back as well. And a slow wicket to manipulate the field, that's a very effective option.
He's hit that incredibly hard. My word, long off hardly had to move to his right, and it's whistled to the fence. Takes him to within one of a very well-deserved half-century.
It's a very sweet strike by Dwayne Pretorius in a preferred area of his. He's targeted that extra cover boundary and long off against his ball spinning away from him.
Tell you what, long off might have been a little wide, but he only had to run about 7 or 8 meters to his right to cut that off. He didn't have a chance. Not a chance. It's been a super innings from Dwayne Pretorius. Really has. Now 50. And he should get a really warm round of applause from his teammates, because this is a match restoring innings. It's been superbly played. In the context of the match, scoring at almost a run a ball is very good indeed. 55 balls. Super effort, Dwayne Pretorius.
So important for him to realize that the 43 balls left in this innings, if he can face the majority or at least half of that, it'll take his side up to that 250, 260 mark quite easily.
Another good over for South Africa A. 7 from it. Oh, he's given it away, has he? He's chipped it in the gap. Oh, he couldn't have judged it better, and it's gone for 4. My word. What a mess. He's nearly holed out mid-wicket and long on a back. He's miscued it and looking for maximum. That hung in the air tantalizingly, and I thought for all money he was going to be taken. But in the end, it could not have been placed better. $11 off that over then, as South Africa edged closer to the 200 mark, and Pretorius, the more belligerent of the two in the partnership, that is getting South Africa back on track. Time for a change of voice. Taking you through to the end of the innings, Demisa Makalima and John Kent.
Aksa to finish, to start off. The 44th. Just exactly what South Africa A needed. And that brings up the 200. From the position they were in, South Africa A, they've done very well. Dwayne Pretorius doing exactly what Fahan Bahadin needed at the time. Is support, and sufficient support as well.
They've resurrected things unbelievably well. 86 from 96 is the partnership. Bahadin's had to do hard graft, get in the middle overs and try and get a partnership. Needed a willing partner. Pretorius has provided that, and some impetus at a runner ball.
Lots of air given. Standing at 86. This partnership of 97 balls. They've done very well, these two.
Good areas, boys.
They're running hard. They'll turn that one down. And we know how these two can finish off games. John Kent, their role within their team setup is to find themselves in these similar situations and actually finish off the innings properly.
Brilliant. Brilliant partnership, just what was needed. And you know what's to come. There's not much batting to come after these two, so they've better responsibly. And now they've really changed the momentum of this innings and just starting to put some real pressure on these Indian fielders and bowlers towards the back end. Been a pleasure to watch these two at work.
That's the end of the 44th. South Africa A at 204 for 5. He's played well. Dwayne Pretorius. He's taken calculated risks. And he's put away the bad deliveries when needed, providing the sufficient support for Farhan Bayadeen and getting his team into a good position in the meantime. Well played, Dwayne. Scored all around the wicket. Strong on the offside and off the legs. But generally scoring all around the wicket, striking at 94. That's what he does so often.
Lots of arms waving around. Thampi, he's back into the attack. Captain trying to marshal some of his field settings at the moment. Looks like he's settled on it. 3 men on the offside in the ring, 1 on the leg side. Very deep.
I think South Africa, from the position they were finding themselves early on, anything close to 250 they have to be happy with. Over that will be a bonus. And these two are responsible for that rebuilding phase which South Africa A find themselves in.
Good thing Basil has done since he's come back into the attack. He's hit the length pretty hard. On and around off stump, he hasn't floated any up or any looseners. He's on the money right away. That's what his captain needs. Set the tone.
It's a big hit, flicked off the legs, and that will sail over the deep square leg for a maximum.
I'll have a bit of that. Bayadeen hasn't really expressed himself at this stage. He's grafted hard. He's worked for this. And now all the South African fans will be hoping we see a lot more of that towards the back end and finish with some real big hits. He's got no problem clearing the boundary, that's for sure. It's a wonderful finisher. His first maximum.
Partnership on 95 of 104 balls. What's been impressive about this innings from Bayadeen is when he came in, the situation was not ideal to just come in and play. He had to absorb a lot of pressure from good bowling from the Indian bowlers, and he was searching for a partner who can support the role that he's playing, and Dwayne Pretorius responded. Good bowling. Hitting the pitch really hard.
He had a wonderful stroke into the netball courts next door here, but in between it's been tough to rotate that strike. We've just seen he's spent a lot of time at the crease, and he's still not quite comfortable there. That sort of stood up on him a bit, that ball.
Tampi getting a little bit of a beating, going for 40 in his 5.5 overs. Another big hit, and that will clear the mid-off, which is on the circle, and that will run away for 4.
Ends the over with a very handy boundary. 2 boundaries, 4 dots. That was the outcome this time, trying to go over mid-off. Didn't quite time it, but he had the legs, managed to get it over that mid-off fielder, who stayed up in the ring. Well, Hirsch is going to have to throw it back.
.43rd and the 45th over have been very fruitful for the South African A side. And I think with the teammates sitting outside, they know that once these two get to those overs where they can launch, they are more than capable. And what better man you would love on the crease to be doing it out there than Dwayne Pretorius and Farhan Biadin. To bring a change in bowler. Taku coming back. Gone for 37 in his 8, just picking up a wicket. Early on, I think it was Riza Hendricks. Very good delivery. But he's got a different job he had to do. Death bowling is what's required.
South Africa A will be targeting these 5 overs, big 5 overs for them. Trying to almost play a bit of catch up for their early struggles in the innings, and they thankfully have got 2 batsmen who are in now. Pangi must be getting a bit of pad rash. He's been stuck in there. This partnership's 99 now of 106 deliveries. Tell you what, he's stuck in the pads for a while, hasn't he? He's had a blind of a series with ball in hand. Looking for another fine performance today.
Big hit. There's a man coming underneath it. He's diving forward. Oh, he's going to fall short. It is that time of the innings now where a lot of initiative is going to be taken by the batsman.
See, there is some bounce out here. You put some effort in, bend it back, you can extract something from this wicket. The 100 partnership, very, very well played between these 2 batsmen. A steep bounce, top edge, trying to flay it away on the offside. Fielder, third man diving in and doing well in the end to actually stop it. Those can get under you and go for 4 as well. So he ran in, tried to be on the positive side, try to take the catch on. He didn't quite make his ground. But 100 partnership up for this pair. Great effort.
Another big hit. This time he's hit it straight up in the air. There's somebody coming underneath it, and he's going to take a comfortable catch. Running in from the sweeper boundary together. A comfortable catch just outside of the circle.
He's trying to go big, he's trying to go down the ground, and the bowler started pretty well here. He's bowled back of a length and it stood up on him. He's trying to go down over long on somewhere there and got an outside edge, and the thin air of Pretoria travelled all the way out to the cover sweeper. Took a smart catch running in. He's frustrated with himself. He set it up. Unfortunately, when he wanted to cash in here, he's holed out. But a good end of a good partnership and a handy knock from Pretorius. He makes his way off the ground for well played 58. SAA 216 for 6.
Aaron Pangiso, age 33, will join Farhan Beadine to finish off proceedings here. To get a substantial total. And this is the reason why he's here. Dwayne Pretorius not quite getting hold of that one. And a very good running catch from the boundary to position himself. He's been having his pads on for a while, Pangiso. Watched the 100 partnership between Farhan and Dwayne Pretorius. Good bowling. We haven't seen enough of those today. Caught me by surprise.
Beadine as well, really, just getting underneath this one. Looks to be struggling a touch. He's been on his haunches on a couple of occasions. Didn't get up too much as well. Quite a skiddy bouncer this occasion. But now it's going to be tricky for Beadine to try and maneuver and make this innings work out with some tail-enders on the other end. He's going to have to bat smartly. For India, they're going to want him off strike. So they've dropped some fielders on the leg side back. If he gets one, they're happy. They want to bowl at the tail-ender.
And it's still good to see the carry on that bouncer. I think the tactics South Africa employed in the last game to the Indians, a lot of short balls. So asking the questions around head high area, making sure that they're not comfortable and sitting on that front foot. We might see a lot of those this afternoon. On the pull this time. And he's got cover, the deep mid wicket.
Back of a length throughout this over, really. Some balls have gone through, some have just held up a little bit, so not a bad tactic really, because if you try go Yorker and you get it slightly wrong, you can disappear. But at the moment, he's got the man on strike who he wants to bowl at. Pangiso, bat on ball, try to get your partner on strike. Last ball of the over though, on this occasion. It's been a good over from him.
We'll bring you close to the 46th over. 217 for 6. Henry Davis starting off proceedings early on today, scoring 20 of 27 balls. And his partner struggled. So is Claassen. Kaya Zondo tried to make an attempt to build up that partnership that is needed. Wouldn't be happy with the dismissal though. Star of the show, Dwayne Pretorius, and Farhan Beadine managed to pull things together for the South African A side to put up a respectable score that they can defend. And with 4 overs to go, they are well on their way to that 250 plus mark, which will be more than handy to defend this afternoon.
The bowler's also got to see this as an opportunity from another point of view. Obviously they'd like Pangiso on strike, but if they can get Beadine out, even better situation for them really. At the moment they've gone with third man up in the ring and fine leg up in the ring as well.
Miss out on a low full toss. I think he's in a bit of a, how do I put it? I don't think he's gonna quite go as yet. Still 24 balls left. He is the man in. Maybe try rotate that strike as often as possible, running hard, making sure he's putting away the bad ball, but not quite losing his wicket yet. But let's see how he's gonna go about things. They'll be running hard.
He's gone seam up with those first couple of balls with third man, fine leg. You don't have much margin for error when you've got pace on the ball with that type of field setting. Knocking it up the ground for one. Got a real skid about him. Stampy running in pretty hard. He's bowling a much fuller length than the previous over we had a look at.
Did once said there's still a little bit of a stall. He's going to have a shy. He's going to miss. Wanting to get back on strike for Beardine, rightfully so. Fortunately, on that occasion, he's one wanting it for Beardine. But eventually, Pangiso responding. Had he hit, he would have been found wanting. But it's good for South Africa. The right man is on strike. 79 after 103 balls. Farhan Beardine has played very well for his team. Waist high full toss, and it's got the treatment it deserves, and that's gone for the maximum straight behind the bowler's head for a 6.
Great shot, flat bat. Great area to hit the ball at the end of the innings. Sheena hit one on the leg side on the netball courts over the leg side, pick up shot. And this time, tough shot to time as well sometimes. Straight back, as you mentioned, into the side screen. Brilliant. Brilliant, an important boundary in this over.
We're bowled. Very, very well bowled. You can't respond much to that kind of a delivery, but they've done all South Africa to get a single out of it.
But I did not too sure where the ball went. Hit into his boot and wasn't too sure, and Pangiso just said, "Got it covered, partner." It's come through for the one. There's plenty of opportunities here still. One ball short. 47 overs. Want a big finish here. Get Behardine on the majority of these deliveries. He looks back and see the ball rolling towards the stumps. This must be pretty hard to keep running and say, hang on a second, I want to check if the ball's going to hit my stumps first.
Pangiso goes on a big hit, doesn't quite get hold of it. It will bounce before the man. That will conclude the 47th over. South Africa A, 226 for 6. As it stands, they are looking at 240, but from the position where they've worked hard and put themselves in, 18 balls left, they'll want a little bit more than 250, but that's what they're playing for. Triangular Series tournament has been an exciting one, and at the end of all of these battles and tussles, that's what it comes down to. Silverway.
The change in the tournament the last couple of years has been in India. They've had a tri-series. In Australia they've done it, and this time South Africa hosting it clearly. And Australia A, those were the guys who had the problem with a pay dispute. seems to have been resolved, and Australian cricketers are going to get back on that park and play some cricket. So, pleasing that that's come to an end and it's been sorted out.
Bayardine on strike. Pace taken off. They'll get a single. Cannot help not to stress how well this man plays the back of the innings, and he's done it so many times for the Titans, and he's done it a number of times for South Africa as well. Scores them very quickly, anticipates well, and really can get under the bowler's skin when they are bowling dead, because you do seem sometimes to miss your lengths and your areas, and that's where Farhan capitalizes with ease. Pangiso coming down the wicket. He's got a fall short of the sweeper for a single.
Pangisa's also got to be smart here. Doesn't really be too reckless, run down and hole out, and then Bayardine's got another partner to have to deal with. If he can just hang in there for a couple of overs there, just give Bayardine a bit of belief, give him belief, because if his wicket's going on that end, it's hard to keep going when you're losing your partners, really. Pangiso's role is going to be important here as well.
Babal flick of his legs, they're looking for two. Now they'll turn that down. Settle for a single. Moves on to 88. Adjusts very well. Just flicking that off his legs. Pangiso tries a scoop. Misses it totally. And it's gonna be given a wide by the umpire. So he's gonna have to bowl that one again, Kawul.
It almost looked like he got the claw there. He almost didn't let go of the ball. Pangiso moved across and put him off his A game. Keeper knocked it on, and now Behardin's back on strike. So a bad result, that delivery. Horrendous result for India A. The man that's in's back on strike. Seeing it like a beach ball.
He's gone for a big shot for Han Behardine, and he's done this with ease once again to clear the long on boundary for another maximum. And he will move on to 94, just 6 short of what would be a very well-deserved century.
Just mentioned the mistake, and now it's been compounded by the very next ball, going all the way. Length, and he can put it anywhere he likes when you bowl length at the end of the innings.
He's running hard. He's gonna tap and they're gonna go. Pangiso has responded. He's running hard. Good throw will do. Doesn't gather the bowler. Good running from the South African duo. He's worked hard. Needs 4 more for his century. Almost creeping through that ball. Very fortunate, but he's still there, and that will bring a close to the 48th over. South Africa A, 239 for 6.
This misty bump ball went up, and he must have been looking and hoping it didn't bounce on the stumps. Not far away. Good Yorker to finish the over. After Call got a bit of tap there. 2 overs to go.
Last over being the biggest one of the game so far. 14 coming off it. They'll be hoping for more of that in these next couple of overs. South Africa A. Pangiso will hopefully be looking for a single from the South African point of view, as far as they're concerned, to give the men in form a strike.
Tailenders don't think one, surely. They think they can just deposit a couple around the ground, play some flare strokes. He's got Herschel Gibbs coaching him. You know, play some flare shots here. One's the last thing on his mind. But right now it's very important, as you say. Quite right. I'm just teasing you.
There we go. There's a huge heave, Aaron Pangiso. I'm not sure he wasn't looking for a single there, but that's what he got, and that was what is right for the team.
Visions of one knee maximums on the leg side, but end of the day, he's got his partner on strike. Let's hold thumbs. Farhan can do some damage here.
Pace taken off. It's a little dab. Brings him closer. 97. He's faced 111 balls. Just telling Pangiso that at times he does take away pace from the ball, just rolling his fingers over. Just be watchful of that. He's gone for a big hit, Aaron Pangiso, and the man over long on is just going to have a look at that for a beautiful maximum.
The captain Zondo, very pleased with his work there. What a hit. As the bowler ran up, you could see the slower ball in his hand, wide, and he's flat batted this one beautifully. Plenty of air into the practice area. What a shot.
Why look for singles if you can do that, John Kent? It's gonna gain. They're gonna be running hard. Fielder coming around, one hand pickup. Make it really easy for the two.
Pangiso just saying, run hard, Farhan, just get me on strike here. I'm seeing it massive here. His partner's just thinking, jeepers, balls are running out here. I'm looking at that 3-figure score as well, maybe. Doomy, what do you think?
Can't possibly. He's batted so well. Deserves those 3 figures. In the meantime, South Africa moves on to 249. Just one away. Another big hit towards deep mid-wicket. Is there a man coming around? He's taking a beautiful catch at the boundary. Aaron Pangiso found Karun going for another maximum. Not to be this time though.
Off cutter. It's hold out previously. Saw it big. Just mistimed this. Didn't get all of it. Length was there for him. Bat face just closed on impact. And a good running catch out in the deep. Little cameo from Aaron Pangiso's over. He's gone for 11. SA 249 for 7.
Dan Pedersen strolls out to bat. Capable of having 1 or 2 big hits. Gonna be running hard. This looks like it's beautifully hit, but good fielding coming around the boundary. And a good throw will do. Oh, that is mighty, mighty close. That was a very good pickup and throw to Dan Pedersen's end. I think he tried to go for the stance, but he just missed.
Well timed. Pedersen had to get his runners on here. As the bowler swung around, he just missed the stumps. He had his back to the stumps, so he had an idea where the stumps were, but when he spun around to knock the bails off, he missed them all, unfortunately, for India A. 1 over to go. Behardine well placed, 99 not out. And Pedersen, he's on strike though.
Surely he'll be looking to get Behardine on strike. Sometimes can't put a finger to how these bowlers think. He's running hard. Pace taken off the ball.
Seen quite a few cutters in the last couple overs now. Almost every ball has been that way. For Behardine, he's played a great hand. They're in serious trouble. About 20 overs, they were staring down the barrel, and he managed to get a partnership. A partner in Pretorius, and he's gone all the way through. So finish strong for us here. Let's get over the line.
And there it is, with ease. Rolled his hand, and it brings up a well-deserved century from Fahar Benadine. He came in at a very, very trying time for South Africa, where they were losing wickets at regular intervals. And he was a person to stabilize the situation and found a capable partner of Dwayne Pretorius, but he has continued to bring himself up a well-deserved century.
Well, the second 50 of 36 balls, so he's upped it. He had to graft really hard in that first section of his innings, but he stepped up and he's hit some beautiful boundaries.
Flat bat, straight back past the bowler.
So far the bowler will be pretty pleased with his damage limitation. Just going for 3 singles to start the over. Used that slow ball quite well, and when he hasn't bowled that, he's bowled really full, right on the toes. Where's he going to go now? One would think he'd go for the Yorker once again.
Got 3 balls to go. Yorker dug out, settled for a single.
Very good skills. We've got the 2 wickets up front. Seems to have backed it up nicely with some skills at the end. They've got over that 250 mark. They're in the game. We'll have to see how this pans out as the day develops.
Big hit from Dane Pedersen. We did say he was capable of pulling out those big strokes. Solid hit to clear deep mid-wicket for another maximum.
Oh, he's bowled the Yorker so well, as called. He's backed himself. The 3rd ball he's bowled at Pedersen, slower ball, but this time he saw it big. Great extension of the arms. That ball goes a long way. He's timed that. They were in desperate need of a boundary in this last over. 1 delivery remaining.
This could go anyway, but here we go. Come down the wicket, he spliced it, and it's gonna clear the sweeper boundary for, I think it's another maximum. A very good finish from South Africa, wrapping up the innings with 2 sixes, but they still need to confirm missing his length. Sliced it, then stabilizing himself. But it does look like it has cleared that sweeper boundary for a 6. Clearly clearing that that boundary. And there it is as confirmation.
Superb end to the innings. 2 sixes. Dane Patterson, what an effort. But the effort today, hats off to Van Behardien. A fine 100, unbeaten, 101 not out. He's given his team a chance, a wonderful chance to lift the trophy at the end of the day. Long way to go. Well, that's a terrific knock. He's got his side in the contest after being rocked early. Good bowling performance early on from India A. The top order was rocked. The loss of Hendricks, Klaasen and Mulder for fairly low scores, but the partnership from Behardien and Victorious got them back in the game, got some momentum, and Behardien went all the way to the end.
Yes, that was a game changer of a partnership, 101. But before that, Kaya Zondo and Fahar Behardien had their say, really getting things together. Chakwa struck early, removing Riza Hendricks, and finished off his 10 overs for 52 runs, picking up 3 wickets. Kahul also bowled well up front, picking up 2 wickets for 55. But their spinners did the most stalling of the innings by bowling very well. India will need a 268 runs to win from 50 overs. We'll see you guys after lunch.
So that's what India A need in order to prevail in this Tri-Series final here against South Africa A. 268, and by no small coincidence, they needed to chase down 267 a couple of days ago in the round-robin game, and they got home with a wicket to spare. So we know it's going to be a teasing score. We know it's going to be a challenging score. And South Africa, though, will be delighted that they managed to post 267 for 7, having at one stage being 32 for 3, and then 115 for 5. So to get up to 267 for 7, in no small measure, thanks to a very fine 100 from Farhan Bahardin. He was workmanlike in his first 50 that took 77 balls. It took him a further 36 balls to get to his 100. He received great support initially from Kaya Zondo, who needlessly gave it away. And then it was a really super innings from Dwayne Pretorius. Provided support, but also provided acceleration and momentum shift that South Africa A needed to get them towards the 267 for 7 that they in the end ended up posting. You can see the partnerships there, Zondo and Bahardin getting things back on track, but it was the Pretorius-Bahardin partnership that have given South Africa a very real chance of defending the 267 for 7 that they ultimately posted. India were impressive with the new ball. Siddharth Cole particularly useful, but when he came back he was expensive. Thakur bowled neatly at the death. He's got good change of pace. The spinners were impressive. Akshar Patel and Yuzvendra Chahal, even though they only picked up the 1 wicket, they were miserly in the extreme. Many of the trophies that will be played for, the series trophy and the man of the series trophy, it's been a super couple of weeks cricket here up in Pretoria at the Centre of Excellence, in this triangular series between Afghanistan A, late replacements for Australia A, and of course the two protagonists in this final, India A and South Africa A. Tabraiz Shamsi will certainly play a role on a pitch that has been pretty slow today. It's been variable bounce, and by that I say from the Centre of Excellence end there's been a lot more bounce than from the university end. And South Africa have a nicely balanced attack. They've got Patterson, Pretorius, Vion Mulder and Junior Dala seam up. But what may well be key is their form man in the tournament, Aaron Pangisa with the ball, and Tabraiz Shamsi with his wrist spin. The two umpires, Adrian Holstock from South Africa and Sam Nogajski from Australia on the exchange program. And every time they have these tournaments, visiting nations will send out an umpire, and the Australian man, Sam Nogajski, is standing here in the final with Adrian Holstock, one of South Africa's better known umpires. There he is, one of the up-and-coming umpires out of Australia, and one of the more established in South Africa. Has done any number of one-day internationals, just returned from the Ladies World Cup, where he, along with Sean George, stood. Sean George standing in the final. Credit to South Africa. And South Africa under the leadership now of Kaya Zondo. Are Dumisa Makalima probably going to need to be as effective with the new ball as India were if they want to give themselves the upper hand in the defense of this 267 for 7.
Absolutely. The India A batting lineup is just as experienced. They seem to bat around their captain Manish Pendi. Was a fantastic chase a couple of days back where they beat the South African A side by 1 wicket.
Well, the two men opening the batting for India A are probably no strangers to your TV screens, having both played in the RPL. Sanju Samson is a fairly prolific and an attacking young player. Much thought of him. There's his List A record, and I would just suggest perhaps he's still learning his trade in a longer game, almost brought up on a diet of T20 when everything's about all-out attack. To temper that and play a longer innings, he's yet to quite find the balance. As you can see, he hasn't made 100. Karunaya has played at test level and has been immeasurably productive. There's his List A career record, the 100, an average in the mid-30s. And as we were saying earlier on today, whilst there's opportunities for South African A players, given South Africa, the senior side's recent run of form in England, people are saying to the batsmen, there's opportunity here to force your way in at higher level. Probably not as much so for the Indians, because their top six and their senior side seems to be almost impregnable at the moment. Dane Patterson is going to bowl from the centre of excellence end, where there's been a little bit more movement, a little bit of bounce, and he's going to look to try and make early inroads into this India A upper order.
It's going to be very important how they start the South African attack. The areas where they're going to try and explore, it's going to be very important. But they need to start throwing the first blows here early on to this experienced India A batting lineup.
So here goes Patterson. Starts handily.
They will be looking for anything that this pitch has to offer. The conditions, a little bit of wind blowing across the field, anything that will assist the bowler. These two South African opening bowlers will be looking for that.
Yeah, and most of the pundits and those who know this ground have said there's not going to be as much on offer for the seamers this afternoon as there was this morning. That said, it's still vitally important for the South African new ball to keep the disciplines that we saw India exhibit this morning. Yes, India were encouraged by the assistance they got from the surface, but gee, they did bowl good lines and lengths in that first power play. See, that's too short and too wide, and it gets the treatment it deserves. When we're talking about discipline, there wasn't enough shown there from Dane Patterson.
Absolutely. Width offered, and you are given the ability to free your arms, and that's exactly what Sanju Samson has done, collecting 4 runs on that occasion.
They talk about setting the standard, and Dane Patterson will be mindful that he's got the new ball and he has to do just that. So to bowl a real half-tracker wide outside the off stump is, well, if we're talking about standard, it's substandard.
The pitch does tend to get a little bit better this time of the day. The sun is going to be beating down on it, so we expect it to be a little bit harder, but not too much change. So those margins of error are going to thin up.
Wow, that has been sweetly timed. It's gone straight to Mosetle, who's on the field as a substitute. Normally a wicket keeper, but he's got good hands, as you can see, as you'd expect. Already a field change, second slip dispensed with. I suppose not so much because of the nature of way Sanju Samson's playing, but just that there's not much swing and a little bit of lack of control from Patterson at this stage. Better full length.
Mangaliso Mosetle at point. In for Farhan Biadin, the Centurion. Not quite sure exactly the reasons, but he's missing out on this occasion, Mangaliso.
That's better. That's the line and length you want to deploy. It took him a while to find it. Let's hope he can stay there for Dane Patterson. 4 off the first over.
Early days in their batting lineup, but very experienced As we said earlier on, they seem to bat around that captain of theirs, who is in very good form, managed Pendia. Aya to follow, Pent coming in after Pendia. Very, very experienced.
As you say, Pandy's in excellent form. He's only been dismissed once in the entire competition, and that was in the first game, the low scorer against South Africa, where he got a 50, but it was the highest score in the innings before getting out. He was not out on 93 in the successful run chase against South Africa. He got in against Afghanistan twice when they didn't dismiss him either. So, gee, he is in good form. Obviously a candidate for man of the series. Junior Dalla will share the new ball with Dane Patterson. He'll go from the university end, slightly up the hill, and he'll go to Karun Nair.
I was just speaking to Junior Dalla early on in the week. Seems to enjoy the responsibility he's been given to open the bowling and learning his trade in his early international career. I spoke about this wicket briefly, that it's a type of wicket where you really have to hit the deck. You can't allow it to just float the ball and look for that swing. Instead, hit the deck.
That's easy pickings. That's too easy. It's angled down the leg side. And both these opening batsmen have been given a comfortable delivery to pack to the boundary to get off the mark. First, Samson got the short wide one from Patterson. And now Karun Nair's got the gift down the leg side from Junior Dalla.
No, not exactly hitting the deck on that occasion. Junior Dalla, a little bit friendly. Nice leg stump half volley. He'll want to be hard on himself about the disciplines and the areas he wants to hit.
Better.
Sort of areas he'll be looking for. Maybe a touchful of anything. But starting to build up his pace slowly but surely, Junior Dalla. Forcing Nair onto the back foot. Disciplines are going to be very important early on. Cannot allow this Indian A batting trio to get off on a good start.
Oh! Did that hit the stumps? That was so close to a drag on.
Hard lengths by Junior Dalla. Very close indeed.
How did it miss them? It looked for all money that it was just going to cannon back into the stumps, and it's almost spun past leg stump. Unlucky Dalla. Doesn't look quite as comfortable on a shorter length than a full length when it gets lift around chest height, Karun Nair. But India A have got off to a handy start. 8 on the board after 2.
Facing 6 balls apiece. And both opening bowlers going for a boundary each. But they'll get a kind of an idea what kind of length they need to settle on. Can't be too short, can't be too full. So the margins of error, as we've said, very small.
Here's Patterson to Sanju Samson. Fine, absolutely fine there. Neat carry. He can be quite a useful swing bowler. There doesn't seem to be much swing on offer, but there was just a hint there.
Just a tinge of outswing. A little bit of assistance from the deck. Just a tinge. I think from the last game, what was evident about the South African bowling tactics to the Indian batting lineup, they really used their 2 bouncers and over. They asked a lot of questions around that region, head height region. It was a clear tactic. Going to be very interesting whether they will try and employ that same sort of tactic, maybe when different batsmen do come in. I think it's also usually a tactic when the national team plays the Indians.
Of course, India due to come to South Africa in the middle of summer in a packed season of wonderful cricket on our screens of Supersport. We've of course got Bangladesh at the end of September in a 2-test series. Australia at the end of the summer in 4 tests. India supposed to come between those, but at the moment it's all up in the air, I think, about how many tests they'll come for, when they'll actually arrive. Something of a delay in India agreeing to a South African fixture program. Then there's a heavy domestic program kicking off with the Africa T20 Cup, and that's in just a couple of weeks' time. The normal Momentum Cup and T20, and then the new addition to the South African cricketing calendar, of course, the Global T20 in November and December. So much to look forward to from a cricketing perspective here during the course of from now through spring into summer and deep into autumn next year. Hordes of cricket for you cricket lovers at home. Better over this from Patterson, much better.
Getting into rhythm slowly. Finding his areas.
It's almost as if he's made his run up just a little bit more. He used to be a bustling bowler. He's almost quite languid in his approach. As he gets to delivery stride is where he's exploding. He's got a good action, lovely strong body position, and gets through the crease nicely. But all this part looks fairly lazy. It's probably something he's designed. It's part of control, and that's a really top over from Dane Patterson. Much better than his first. It's a maiden. It's 8 for none from 3.
That's how the day started. South Africa batting first, scoring 267, thanks to that man at the top there, Farhan Berdien, scoring 101 of 114 balls when the chips were down. Well supported by Dwayne Pretorius. Indian bowlers asking a lot of questions early on. As it stands, still a target of 268.
Junior Dala continues. Goes to Karun Nair.
Really trying to emphasize hitting the deck. Junior Dala maybe just erring on the short side for now. Maybe a touch fuller, a foot or so fuller would be ideal.
I get the sense from the point you make, Dumisa, about they'd rather be shorter of a full length, a drivable length to the Indian batsman on South African pitches than the other way, but he's got to be mindful that he can't get too short. He's got him. That's beautifully bowled. That is top bowling, Junior Dala. He's forced him onto the back foot with a couple of short deliveries, pushed it a bit fuller, induced the drive, the edge found, regulation catch for Klaasen. That is good stuff from Junior Dala. Lovely bowling this.
Absolutely. I just felt that a couple of balls he was hitting the deck, emphasizing hitting the deck on that occasion, just getting it a bit fuller, asking Karun Nair to come forward and drive that ball on the up. As a matter of fact, finding the edge on the way to the keeper. Karun Nair gone for 4, 8 for 1.
I just thought the first delivery was almost like hinting towards a bit of width. Another 22-year-old, Shreyas Iyer, comes to the crease. Fledgling career, just starting to find his way as this young Indian A side who bat a lot around, as Dumisa said, Manish Pandey. He's out there because of a lovely piece of bowling. Just a slight change of length, an intelligent change of length. Has forced his man onto the back foot. You can see that that back foot's just a bit leg side-ish, and so he's pushing at it. Starts with a bouncer. I like this tactic from Junior Dalla. He's got good aggression to all these Indian batsmen, but the full length delivery that got the wicket, that was a peach.
Yeah, and they'll be away in terms of the tactics that we spoke about, what South Africa actually went about the last game they played. So the short ball is at the back of their mind. It might just lead to those feet not moving quite as smooth.
Just a push on the front foot, but Dala won't mind that. That's good fielding as well from the skipper, Kaya Zondo, keeps it down to 1. I was just saying, Dala won't mind that, because as much as it was a push, it was away from the body. If there's movement, there's always going to be a chance of an inside or outside edge.
Slight risk to the shot. He's on the up. Still a new ball. Hence Brett say he won't mind that at all.
South Africa getting off to exactly the start they'd want in defence of a score that is defendable, but it needs to have your best effort in the field. It really does. It's not impregnable. Can certainly achieve it, the chase, India.
Really building up some good gas here. Junior Dalla getting himself into rhythm very early in his spell.
Top over that from Junior Dalla. He's picked up the wicket of Karan Nair. India on 9 for 1 from 4.
Just losing the 1 wicket of Nair by a brilliant delivery by Junior Dalla to Clausen. Still a long batting lineup though. They have the Indians. They will still believe.
Well, they certainly will, because they'll know they've chased down 267 successfully already in this competition. Although it was a narrow margin of a solitary wicket win, I think this could be a teasing match. This, it could really go down to the end. Patterson driving on the up. Driving on the up. You can just see the bowler, just by his body language, is going, hang on, fancy a bit of that.
Yeah, feet not quite moving towards the ball. That's why Dane Pedersen just said, don't really quite mind that.
Yeah, he's relying on his straight bat and the control in his hands, because there was no footwork whatsoever. Disappointing from a Patterson perspective. Him and Dalla building up good pressure, and then slides one down the leg side.
And they'll be very wary about bowling those extras. Went too impressed with the bowling a couple of days back, where they bowled 15 plus wides, which were not impressive at all.
Costly. That's better. Back on the mark. Good running. Quickly through.
Just keeping Pedersen interested here.
It goes back to the point we make, Dumisa. firm-footed, very just inching forward. There was no stride towards the ball. So when he plays with the bat away from the body, if there's any movement, and on this occasion there was just a hint back, it caught the inside edge. So it just means your defensive technique needs to be tighter. Too short, pulled away. Good stroke. That's well played. Some authority against the short pitch bowling this time from Sanju Samson.
Yeah, the first attempted bouncer by Patterson doesn't quite get up. Actually brought Patterson into the game right in his zone. Doesn't have to move much and dispatches that over mid-wicket.
Doesn't get up high enough, does it? To be a good bounce, it's got to get up towards the throat. Scampered single, good run. Positive cricket, following up the good boundary, convincing boundary with just a nice, good, solid defensive push and the alertness to take the single.
Still keeping the 2 slips, rightfully so. It is a new ball.
Oh, initially thought it was short and was getting in a position to pull, but it was nowhere near. And credit to him, Shreyas Iyer, he managed to adjust, but looked unconvincing in doing so.
Looking to be positive here, the Indians. Couple of balls being hit on the up without much foot movement. They'll need to be. Square leg drops to the boundary.
The end of the 5th, and India a troubled start, 16 for 1.
Good fielding by Aaron Pangiso. He's cutting off the 4 there. Still getting 3. That's how Samson plays. Launches himself, Aaron Pangiso. Holds it back in just in time.
No problem. Bongani Jele will adjudicate as the 3rd umpire, and I'm pretty sure he'll be happy with that piece of fielding. Kai Zondo, the SAA skipper, was saving the run, everything important. That's well bowled. Good line, a hint of away movement. Again, the stroke was... We've seen that from Shreyas Iyer. He just doesn't tend to play tight to the body. He reaches for it a bit, so there's always the keeping the bowler interested that he could find the outside edge.
Starting off very well, Junior Dollar. Asking questions. Required rate at 5.57 to the over. It's not gonna be easy.
Pace you feel from Dollar. He's running up the hill into the end that hasn't got as much bounce, but he's just starting to work up a nice head of steam. Always wondered what it must be like to face Junior Dollar with that stutter in the action. You must almost find while you're waiting for it, and then suddenly it's on you. Bowlers with sometimes a beautiful theoretical action, sometimes easy to pick up. Bowlers who've got something a little different can be awkward. Up in the air, could be taken, should be taken, is taken. Dala gets his second. The short ball has worked once again. And India A are in a little bit of trouble in pursuit of this 268. They're 20 for 2 with Samson gone for 12.
Credit must go to Junior Dala. He's been asking questions of that good length delivery. Found Andrew Samson in a very awkward place where it was not short enough, but wanting to score and only managing to hit it straight up. And the backtracking Dwayne Pretorius getting himself into good positions and fingers up, taking a comfortable catch. Sanju Samson, 12, 20 for 2.
As we see the new batsman, Vijay Shankar, just getting his career started with only 34 List A matches. But India A, they find themselves in a lot of strife at 20 for 2.
He's bowled it back over length, banged it in. He dealt with that one, got through it. Good over. South Africa have got their second wicket. 20 for 2.
As we look at this India A batting card, no contribution yet to speak of, but some very important batsmen to come to the crease. If we look at Manish Pandey, the inspirational captain who scored a lot of runs in this tri-series, they'd be in dire need of a partnership here between Iyer and Shankar.
Oh, it's a good delivery. Just nibbling at it. Good swing bowler when conditions allow. Dane Patterson shapes it out as well. And a blinder of a 4-day season a couple seasons ago. Plenty of wickets. But Dala, here's the man of the hour now. Back of a length. Attempted pull stroke. Totally rushed him.
Yeah, it's not a shot that a lot of the Indian batsmen grow up with. He found himself in a slightly uncomfortable position on that front foot. Just rushed him a little bit.
A lot more assuredly this time. Back and across into line. This is Shankar. He must be in the mould of a Ben Stokes. Bowled a couple of overs, change up bowler, and he bats in the top order.
Yeah, speaking of Ben Stokes, I think most teams would like him in your side. Dangerous cricketer, and as we see in the modern day, so important to have a couple of strings to your bow to be able to bat well, contribute in the field, bowl a few overs.
Jeepers, that took off. Bending his back and followed up with a good stare.
Nice to see just a little bit of surround sound by the South African A fielders, encouraging Dane Patterson here. And I really like the short ball tactic here against the Indian A batsman. You want to use it, but almost...
Followed up with a good follow-up, pretty full. I like that surround sound analogy there. But HD as well. Don't forget that. Super Sport, fortunate viewers, HD.
Yeah, absolutely, nothing better. Being a nice winter's day in August and watching some good cricket, some of the finest young and upcoming talent around the world here on display.
Oh, another short one. He's having a full go at him here. Bit of chin music. Shanker still yet to get off the mark. The inner ring of fielders just letting him know as well how tough it's going to be out there for him.
I think this is the first matchup, which is an important one, the new ball spell. And then I think later on the spinning duo becomes really important. So big battle here, how the Indians will play these two partnerships.
Gone again. End of the over. Maiden, well bowled. Dane Patterson, 20 for 2. Crew, are those your old wiki pads there?
Slightly big for me, John. As we see Junior Dala continue once again from the university end. Interesting to see which tactic he employs there. If he also goes for the shorter ball option, just wants to mix it up quite a little bit.
It's been the go-to area. Batsmen seem to be camping a touch on the back foot here. That slightly fuller ball might be a good option to go for here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the wicket-taking one. I think this shorter ball is the one that sets you up. So your follow-up ball always important. We've seen a wicket being taken by the keeper already, just at that fuller swinging length. So really be interested to see how Dala follows it up.
Hitting the deck hard, running down the wicket. His partner not moving an inch.
Yes, we've seen some interesting running today. I think it's really important when it comes between running between wicket that not to ball watch. I think the most important thing is to watch your partner and to trust. Especially when you play under a lot of pressure or there are big crowds. Watch your partner as much as possible.
Change of field, leg gully going in. He's been bowling back over length. Pretty uncomfortable for the batsman. Oh, there it is, at that rib cage. Interesting, this ball's hard and new and it's not really flying through at the moment. This morning we see Swart go through a lot more chest high through to the keeper, and they had a far less pace than what's being shown right now.
Yeah, the zip has just gone out of the wicket a little bit more, which makes it a lot tougher for these bowlers. But so far they've done a very good job of restricting India, but also picking up wickets.
Oh, that's an airy-fairy shot, that. No control whatsoever. And the umpire signalled wide. Above the head. He's gone for a couple of bounces. Was it that high over the head?
It looked good from where I was sitting, but they are in a better position than I am. So, but I really like Junior Dala's intent here. Oh well, it is very tight.
Field change once again. Leg gullies come onto the offside again. That fuller length flicked in the air, wide of mid on, and that's running away. Going to Pretorius, he's not going to catch it. That's 4 more.
Just slightly erring in line on that occasion. So we see that fuller length delivery which he's been setting the batsman up for. Unfortunately, just a slightly too straight in on leg stump.
Oh, that line almost carried to him for a caught and bowl chance. That line was a bit better, more off stump, middle and off the previous one, just sliding down into the pads. I love it there. Yeah,
sometimes I think it's important to define what a straight line is. You know, captain might ask a bowler, please bowl a straight to line, it still means you want to bowl that top of off-stump line. That is on this surface, which looks like it's slowing up just a little bit. Be a really good and a comfortable line and length.
Dealt with. Just the boundary, end of the 8th over, 25 for 2. A couple of maidens I'll be pleased about, and a couple of wickets too. I'll be pleased with the progress. I haven't got away from them at all. One more wicket now in this power play would be superb.
Absolutely, especially as we see a change of bowling. Be very useful for South Africa A just to strike here in this first power play. As we see Dwayne Pretorius coming to the attack from the centre of excellence end.
Short. It seems to be the go-to length here. Years gone by, touring teams, especially from the subcontinent, when they get here, Sri Lankans, Pakistanis, Indian sides, this is what they get greeted with when they get to the country normally.
Yes, absolutely. And if you look at Dwayne Pretorius, he's not someone who bowls 140, but sometimes those are the bowlers who bowl the best bounces because you don't expect them to use it often. So a good signal of intent by Dwayne, nice and early in his spell.
Bounce, they've got in line with it. Must be said, they've been peppered with some short deliveries, but they've got into line well. They've dealt with it pretty well. Just for that one little judged pull stroke where Junior Dalla got his man.
Dwayne Pretorius, he's played quite a bit of list A cricket, almost coming into his prime as an all-rounder around 28.
That's a good line there, off stump. Trying the batter to hit around it. Some batsmen don't mind it when you bowl wicket to wicket. They step across and they like to whip you on the leg side. Players like that as a go-to area. The ball is still fairly new, so there might be a bit of a high risk option. Once this ball shines off it, work becomes a bit tougher for those seamers. Punched very well off the back foot and pierces the field. Pankiso once again in pursuit. 3 runs the result.
I think the margin for error on this wicket will become smaller and smaller as the day goes on as well. Especially like you mentioned, John, when that ball gets old and there's not a lot of movement out there. You're going to have to use all your tools here. You see him just slightly miss in his area there, slightly too short and wide. I think precision is the name of the game as we progress for the seamers here.
Looks to whip it, looks to flick it pretty well. He's got a strong bottom hand.
Yes, as you know, your subcontinent players extremely strong through the leg side. They don't miss much on their pads. Very wristy players, naturally.
Over up, 4 runs from it, 29 for 2.
As we have a look at the South African A bowling card, very good start by Junior Dalla and Dane Patterson. They were aggressive. They set the tone for a very good bowling innings here, and it's just important, the bowlers who are yet to get the opportunity here today, that they capitalise on this very good start.
Don't forget, we've got 2 very good spinners coming onto your screen soon. Shamsi as well as Pankiso, who's the top wicket taker in this tournament for the South Africans. Bjorn Mulder, he's into the attack. Jeepers, that's a big bumper.
Yes, we've seen a couple of bowlers start their spells now with short deliveries. So Dane Pretorius during his first over, he used a bumper his first ball, and Bjorn Mulder this time as well, just slightly too short on that occasion.
Has that slight angle into the right-handers. Left-handers, you'd think he'd be quite a good bowler, just running it across them a la Morne Morkel.
Yes, I think it's going to be challenging for Dwayne Pretorius and Bjorn Mulder actually to bowl together in a bowling spell. They're similar pace. I think on this wicket you constantly want to change things up, bring a slower bowler maybe to bowl with a seamer and just mix things up. They're very similar bowlers, Dwayne Pretorius and Bjorn Mulder. Maybe the one slightly taller than the other one, but very similar paced.
He's got this fine piece of work there by Shamsi. The wicket is slower though. You mentioned that at the start of the day's play. That's where the afternoon could be interesting for the batting side. You get a couple of handy spinners. The man in screen, he's top draw. He said he's going to be heading over to the Caribbean League shortly. He's done a couple of years over there with St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, they're called. Biggest party in sport, they say. Bit of rum.
Yes, and as we saw in the India bowling innings, our Akshay Patel and Chahal, they bowl beautifully together. And I'm looking forward to that battle when Aaron Pangiso and Shamsi bowl together today. I think it's going to be a very important phase in the game, and I must want to venture and say the team who plays that little innings or that little period the best will put themselves in a very good position here today.
Nudged on the leg side. Comfortable single. Hit the stumps, and that's running on. That's going to concede a one extra. Interesting, Krug, of that so far. What we've seen on our screens today hasn't been one left-hand batsman.
Yes, as we just have a look at Dwayne Pretorius, the direct hit here. Ooh, batsman not sliding his bat, but luckily he was past the stumps. We haven't seen a lot of left-handers today.
Middle order for England. Sorry, not England. India, excuse me. Pant, Aksar, Patel. There's some left-handers. Solidly played once again, just getting himself in. He looks pretty assured, looks fairly solid in his defence. Shankar.
I actually like this change of field. They've taken slip out. The captain, Kayozondo, who's been very good captaincy-wise during this series, he's realised that, look, we've got to bowl slightly more into the wicket, hit the stumps, use our variations. He's just plugged that mid-wicket area, asking his bowler to use his variations while still hitting that top of off line.
Four runs off the Milders' first over, 33 for 2. First power play completed.
As we have a look at the conclusion of that first power play, very similar to the South African A1. India collecting the 33 runs, but also in that wickets column, the 2 wickets going down. One to a very good short delivery by Junior Dala, and the other one a nicely pitched up one. Important this power play too, all the way from over 11 to 40.
type of bowlers, if they hit their area, the batsman is going to have to try and make a move here. Try and get down the wicket, walk across, try and whip him through the leg side. But this bowling combination, for me, is very consistent. They can hit their lengths, line, medium fast pace, and the batters are going to have to make the play here. The run race just easing up towards the 6 mark as well. They're not going to give you too many half volleys or feed you into the leg side, a couple of short wide cut balls. That's where they're going to be targeting.
Absolutely. And also think while the ball is still relatively hard, it's probably your easiest time. As the ball gets older and softer, it's more difficult to hit over the top. So you see that last ball as well, our Shears Iyer just advanced slightly down the wicket. So they are looking to be slightly more aggressive here against Dwayne Pretorius.
Ryan Cook earlier, he does some fielding with the side. That's his consultancy job here in this SAA side.
Yes, Cookie, he puts him through these paces. Very innovative coach. He's done a great job with him, and always someone who looks to challenge his side. He'll be out there with a notebook and a camera looking for areas where they can improve.
Nudge calling for his partner to run hard.
Good boy, good boy.
Short, and he's had a full go at that one. Good option to use that bouncer, not overuse it. That surprise delivery really did him in there.
Yes, as the umpire signals him one for the over. Got the height perfect on that occasion. Very hard to find the right length on a slow wicket. What is too short or what is too full, but Dwayne Pretorius on this absolutely spot on.
Top edged over the keeper, running away for 4. Fortunate runs, but 4 nonetheless.
Yeah, unfortunate way to end the over. What was a very promising over. But India A, they moved to 38 for 2 after 11 overs. As we have a look at the comparisons of the worm there in this A series, very similar trend. A lot of wickets falling within this first 10 overs, both for South Africa and India A. South Africa would like to see a couple more of those white dots very soon here, just to put India under a lot more pressure.
Partnership 18 from 33 deliveries, so it's keeping a pretty tight rein on things at the moment. It's quite some time before the previous boundary. Pull shot of the last ball of the previous over. Oh, it's just fed it into the leg side. He's got plenty of protection back there. Long leg, deep square leg as well. Question we might have for the back end of this innings: does the ball reverse here? Do you think there's the wicket abrasive enough for it to do that?
Yes, the art of reverse swing. There's definitely, it's a nice and abrasive wicket, or a block as well, so it's easier to bounce the ball in and get that ball soft and old on the one side.
Spraying almost like a deodorant can all over the headlines.
Yeah, it has to be, I suppose. A lot of dew and a lot of sweat going around. I don't know if it's just like an antiperspirant or something like that.
Well bowled. Touch Fuller, good piece of work at extra cover as well. Henry Davids, he's sharp in the field, he is.
What time do you think would be a good period within this game to start introducing the spinners, John?
I'll probably go Mulder 3 or 4, Pretorius 3 or 4, and then I'd get them on pretty shortly. 15, 16 overs I think is not a bad time. To be honest, I wouldn't be against it coming on now to give it a go, see how it responds. Plenty of bowling depth here. They've got the 4 frontline seamers, they've got the 2 spinners, so they've got a bit of room to manoeuvre. As Captain Zondo, as he drops back at long off. Oh, he goes past the outside edge, well bowled.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a change of field that occasion where Captain Kai Zondo, he dropped deep into long off. But they've gone back to changing the field once again. Mid off comes up, long off comes up, as they push Aaron Pagiso back to the deep point boundary.
Strange that he went with a long off fielder back for that previous ball. He's come up in the ring now. A slower ball. Good skills there. Decent over. 2 from it. 40 for 2.
As we see the required rate for the first time today go up to a runner ball, to around 6s. Just have a look at that match summary. India A, they required 228 runs of 38 overs, which is exactly a runner ball.
It's been the area they've looked to capitalise on. They haven't really gone running down the pitch and try to knock these bowlers off their areas, and maybe if they do, then the thought goes to the keeper and the bowler, you know, maybe I need to come up to the stumps, maybe we should try counter it with something else. And there hasn't really been a lot of movement by the batsmen in the crease for these 2 seamers.
Yes, you're right, John. I think it's much easier for a bowler to almost bowl at a static target than it is when someone is constantly being proactive, using their feet, going deeper, maybe at times getting onto off stump.
So it doesn't need to be running down, hitting it over the side screen out the ground. It could advance down the wicket, push it to mid-off for a 1, or mid on, or walk down, drop and run. It's just not letting the bowler settle too much. Nicely timed. This is a real time that South Africa A are settling into their work here, trying to build pressure, get that required rate up as soon as possible. I'd like to get up to 6.5, maybe 7 if things go really well, and then the spinners come into the frame, and then it's going to be tough work against them as well. Quick one. Comfortable. Well judged. Oh, that was straight, wasn't it? Hands on head. Thought he was through.
Yeah, it's been a very good over thus far by Dwayne Pretorius. He's only gone for the 3 runs. And as I always say, the first ball of the over is for you, last ball of the over is for your team. He wants to make sure that he closes his over nicely here. Limit damage.
Just a quick question, Kurt. You know, you spent plenty of time out the country. You know, are you finding that Afrikaans accent is returning?
If you listen to my son, probably not.
Rotated once again. Tidy over from both teams. Into the 13th. 44 for 2. We're changing upstairs here. Evergreen, Brett Proctor, and the young gun, Dumisa Makalima.
Thank you, John. Nicely balanced game this. You can see South Africa were a run ahead, but a wicket down. More. It's just balanced. It's on an edge. These two sides have been hard to separate throughout the course of this tri-series. 2-wicket win for South Africa in the first game, a 1-wicket win for India in the second. And you wouldn't bet against this one also being a nail-biter. Mulder from the university end goes to Shreyas Iyer. Just listening to our two colleagues, Dumisa, about when and they feel the introduction of spin. These two seamers, Pretorius and Mulder, doing a nice job getting the rate up. I've just got spin is going to play such an important role this afternoon that maybe sooner rather than later we should see the introduction of either a Pangisa or a Shamsi. Opportunities to